What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about why I quit my 9 to 5 career job to take a 1 year sabbatical. We're going to be talking about fashion, home decor, and my journey to become a full-time entrepreneur and just all things in between. So, first and foremost, I've been working in the medical field for over 19 years as a medical administrator, chiropractic assistant, and receptionist. In my previous role, I was there for about 11 years basically, and it was great. I did everything from the front desk, from patient intake, medical records, patient appointment scheduling and filing, just typical medical receptionist duties. Yeah, overall the job was great. The environment was cool, laid back. It was only just me and the doctor working there. I didn't have to worry about any coworkers, anything crazy like that. I can just work on side things if I wanted to, just kind of scroll on the web in between patients. So it was really laid back. The doctor was amazing. I had no issues with that. And so like yeah, so fast forward to it was like round about 2011 when I started that job, but I had worked at a previous chiropractor office before that and just transferred to a different location because the doctor that I was working for previously, he started his own practice, and so I ended up following him over there. But that's a different story on its own. So basically, as time went on, that was about 2011 when I was working there. Things were great, and then fast forward. Also, if I see y'all see me looking down, there's a couple notes. This is new to me, just sitting in front of the camera, speaking or whatever. So I took some notes so I won't get off track because I tend to talk in circles a bit. So it was 2011 when I started that job. So around 2015, I started to feel like I wanted to do something else in life, like something that I was into, something that I can create on my own. And I always would be at work just scrolling on the, like I say, in between breaks and patient. I would just shop, and I had this particular boutique that I would always shop with, and I just always have, love fashion, love styling. I always had like a different sense of taste when it came to fashion. And before the internet was even a thing, and when it first came out and people really weren't shopping online like that, but I was finding like these little side boutiques and store, and people always be like, well, where do you get that from? And I'm looking back now, if I had the business mindset, I would have been like doing something with that. But seemed to here nor there. So I was like, like I'm spending a lot of money with her. Like I really love this. So I was like, maybe I should start my own boutique or whatever. And so as soon as the thought came, like everything else just started flowing in. I just started becoming really creative. All the thoughts just started like really just flowing in, all the ideas and everything. And I remember this one particular time while I was talking to this guy, and he was just like, I always was like, Rena, like you're so extra, as far as how I would dress and things of that nature. So I just kind of took like these just like side comments from different people, and I just like incorporated that into my business and came up with different collections that express my personality, because I really didn't have like one personality. Like when it came to my personality style, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is just some people have just like a certain aesthetic when it comes to fashion. Basically mine was just, I would wake up and however I'm feeling that day, that's how I'm going to dress. Whether if it's, I feel like I want to be glam, I want to be edgy, I want to be casual. So I came up with the collections. And as far as the name, everybody would call me Doll Baby. And before that, people would call me different things. Nothing ever really stuck to me, and I was just really wouldn't answer it, or just I wouldn't really claim it. But for whatever reason, now when I was like, I like that, like I just kind of fly. And so the reason why I felt they called me Doll Baby, because it was like, the way that I dressed, and also the way that my personality. I was just very sweet, very kind, and everybody would be like, oh, you're such a doll, you act like a doll. So it would be like an inside out thing. Like, they're complimenting how I look on the outside, and also my personality. So that set the tone and the mission for Doll Baby, and it's known today as Doll Baby Fashion Boutique. Y'all shop. Y'all go subscribe, dollbabyfashionboutique.net. Just a little plug. But yeah, so that's how the name came along. And yeah, so Doll Baby is all about not only looking good on the outside, but feeling good on the inside and just showing up as the best version of yourself, in whatever, however you feel in that particular day. And yeah, so I created Doll Baby, and still to this day, that was about 2015. I launched my boutique September the 12th, 2015. My original launch date was September the 11th, but as everyone knows, that's when 9/11 hit. And so it was just the craziest time to even try to launch a business because all the attention was on that event. And so I said, I just didn't want to wait any longer. So I was just like, I'm just going to push it to the next day, which I wish now like I would have just like waited, but everything happens for a reason. Because the lunch, it was like, it was just a little quiet because I didn't know anything about really marketing and branding and all of those things. I just was like, I have an idea and I wanted to start. Now, had I knew a lot about running a business or anything like that, it could have been amazing. Like, because around that time, it wasn't really any competition. Like it wasn't a lot of boutiques out, and now it's just overly saturated. And I could have also just sold vendor lists because I had already went through the process of finding and going through the bad quality inventory list and all the things and trying to figure it out because it wasn't as accessible. So I kind of had to dig because all that stuff was new. Like now you can just kind of get out there and just do a little Google search and you can find any type of vendors and all the things, and people are selling them and all those things. And so there's this one company, and they, made a 6-7 figure company just off of selling a vendor list. And like I didn't have that business savvy mindset at the time, and like, ooh, I would have done well because I've already had the research, but I already did the research a long time ago. I'm sorry. And had the list like, probably before a lot of people before they got a hold to it. So yeah, but that's another thing. But I ended up finding all of the vendors that I needed, and yeah, still to this day we're still running. I'm still growing, I'm still learning, but it has done well. But that's like a part of my journey now, is still trying to focus solely on that, because having the 9 to 5 or whatever, like I couldn't totally focus. It was always something that was pulling my attention to just really pour into it like I wanted to or whatever. But I made it work. But it was just like came to a point where like, oh, like, well, came at a standstill because I was working all day and I would be extremely tired. So I didn't have the energy to invest, and not only to invest my time and my energy into it, and financially as well. And so that was 2015. I want to say the next thing was 2018. So I continued to work and everything was fine. I still was kind of working on my business in between. 2018 came. And that's when I went through like this huge transition in my life. I was in a relationship, started off great, just like any other relationship. It ended up having its ups and its downs. So then the relationship came to like this, moment where it just became just not healthy, and so through that moment, I ended up we had a breakup, we're gonna back it up. We broke up, and so I ended up having a spiritual awakening in the in between time. Didn't really know what I was experiencing per se after the breakup. It was just a different connection. Yes, but this relationship was like no other relationship. And so when it ended, I just felt like, oh my God, like I feel like my world came crashing down. I had no idea. Like, I mean, I've had breakups before, and I'd be like, okay, well, you get a little down, you get a little sad, and then you move on. But this one, it was just like, why is it taking me so long to get over it? And so I just really started, after that, I just started doing a little research and trying to figure out like what I was experiencing or whatever. So come to find out, long story short, I think I'm gonna make that an entire video in its own, just about my entire spiritual awakening journey and how it started in more detail. But yeah, so basically I went through spiritual awakening. Just for like a quick short version of that, basically you're just, shedding your old self and your old beliefs, your old thought processes. So who my ego and who I thought that I was, and my old unhealthy habits, I just started questioning those beliefs and started questioning just my entire existence, my entire reality, and trying to find my purpose and figure out like, why am I here and why do I do the things that I do, etc. And so through that spiritual awakening, that journey, I started just, everything started changing around me, inside of me. And so then my job started becoming like a problem, like my environment, everything started just externally like bothering me. So as I would be working on myself and healing, I started learning more about like what I actually need and what I actually wanted for myself. And so I continue to work. I'm still working at the same job, everything is fine, but I found that each and every day would, it started to become harder and harder to just get up and go and make it through the day. And by the end of the day, I would be really, really drained more than usual. I'm already a person who is just sensitive to my environment. I have to, reset because I'm very introverted. So I was like, maybe thinking that it was that, maybe I just needed a break from people, but I just became extra sensitive to everything. And I just found like, no, I just felt like I was always out of place. And I just became very, very unhappy with my job. And I was just like, well, maybe it's just, I need to change some stuff up. Maybe I need to change my morning commute. Or I tried changing my desk around, ordering. I love home decor, so I ordered a bunch of stuff like, and little flower diffusers, and just decorated my desk really pretty and organized and cleaned everything out. And I was like, maybe that'll help. And I'm just Googling everything and just like how to, be happy at your job, because I was feeling like, I'm grateful to have a job. It was, it paid decent. The hours were great. It was just me working there. It's like, what do you have to complain about? So I was just trying to just like trick my mind into just being grateful, and which I very much was. It's just, it was something that was out of my control. It's almost like my spirit was just like pushing me to move. And so I kept really ignoring it. Really, I did. And so I'm 42 now. Like when I did my first video on this channel, I was 41, but I've had a birthday. But I also heard this voice. Of course, it was the voice of God, but at first I thought it was just me because I'm burnt out. And I was sitting at work and it was like, you're gonna quit your job at 40. And I was like, who? Because I have a child, I have responsibility. So how is that going to happen? So I quickly shifted that and blocked that out. But like fast forward, I'm not sure whether that was 2016, but it was before I turned 40. Not sure what year, but I had got that message from God, and I was just like, well, okay. So I didn't think anything to it or whatever. So I just kept working, kept living, had the spiritual awakening. And so it came back again. A voice came back again. It was just like, this time it was like, quit your job. It wasn't like you're gonna retire, you're gonna quit this job when you're 40. And when I looked at it and I thought about it in that moment, I was like, okay, I'm 40 now, and I started putting everything together, and it was like, this is really weird. This is getting weird. And so I'm like, okay, quit my job. Like, how? So I really started to listen this time more than I did last time when I just swept it under the rug. I was just like, okay, how am I going to do this? I know, it was just so scary for me because by this time in my life, I haven't had that many jobs. I had my first job working at a daycare, and then I went straight into, you know, the medical field, and that was it. By that time, people didn't had, 10, 15 jobs. So I'm like, change for me is like a big thing. Like once I'm in something and I'm like in it, and I'm like switching up things. Like I really at that time didn't really like change that much. I embrace it now, but then it was just like, no, when I'm in it, I'm just gonna get comfortable. I'm fine. And so, but it was just this push. So every day, so I heard, I was like, I really wasn't planning yet. I just was like, I'm listening. So I just paid attention to how I felt every day. And so each and every day, it got harder and harder and harder to get up out of bed. It was just like something was pulling me down, weighing me down. I would just really be sad. And then when I did make it to work, I found myself just really dragging, not really showing up as my best self. So in my little breaks in between, I would go to the restroom any chance that I've gotten to just trying to find a little moment, just a little break for myself, and to gather my thoughts, gather my emotions. And I found myself just taking a lot of bathroom breaks to just really go in there and just cry, and to have like a good release, a good cry and then I would come out and I would feel better. And it was the weirdest thing. So I feel like it was becoming to the point where, I was just getting in little moments of anxiety and a little panicky, a little stressed. Like I wouldn't normally, have as many breaks where I just be like, oh, I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm like, if I happen to take time to go outside to get some fresh air or whatever, more than usual. And I'm just like, okay, something is just not right, So I'm just like crying in the morning. I'm dreading Sunday nights. And it's just like everything is just becoming very overwhelming at this point. I'm like, Sunday comes, like I can really enjoy the weekend because it's like I'm thinking about going to work and how I'm going to dread going there. And I'm like, I could not understand it. But so I did a little research and understanding that a lot of people who were going through something similar, their awakening, were experiencing the same things. But I still was just like, okay, well, what am I going to do about it? And so I'm going to insert a video of one day where I want to say it was like January 2021, where I, fast forward from 2018, which was the time where I had the awakening. I still continued to, work and just try to push through. But in 2021 is when I just got to that point where something has to be done. So I'm going to insert a video of me in the car, and I knew then that I had to do something. It was something told me after I got off work to just pick up my phone and start recording myself. It was the weirdest thing, like, because I've never felt the need to, or the desire to record myself in a moment where I'm stressed out or just having my moment. It's only January the 10th, 2022. I'm just not leaving work, and it was an okay day. We were pretty busy. It was kind of like the usual typical Monday. But per usual, once I leave the plantation, I'm extremely drained. I'm going to be totally free from working for anybody else. And so I recorded myself, and I'm just in a car having a rant, but I don't know like what triggered it in that day, but it was just another day. Yeah, so basically I wasn't happy in my situation, and instead of just all day every day complaining to my friends about, oh my God, I'm so tired of going to work, blah 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 blah, and like I'm like, do something about it, So I'm like, I've already had the message from God, this is the second message that I've, gotten a message. So I'm like, okay, let's just be obedient, stop complaining, and do something about your situation. If you're not happy, change it. And that was something that I wasn't necessarily used to doing, just changing things just because I didn't like it, in life, like I got responsibilities. And a lot of times we've been conditioned to, you know, you just gotta pay the bills, so we'll work in jobs that, are not fulfilling or something that we don't necessarily like to pay the bills or for, some type of stability. That comes with everything from staying in jobs that no longer serve us, relationships that don't serve us, just all because we are afraid of change. And so it was just a big lesson that came in all of it. Again, I may do a separate video just talking about my spiritual awakening, all of the lessons that I've learned since 2018, back when I went through that big transformative process. But again, I'm gonna insert the video and just, leading up all the way, you guys, back to where I am now. I also did a video on a little bit like the day after I actually did put in my resignation letter or whatever. So, backing up again, I decided on a date after I had the car rant. I just said, you know what, it's just time to decide. So, I prayed on it, meditated on it. And so I chose the day that, a year from that day is when I was going to call it quits. Like, don't matter, don't think about it. I tried to like make a plan, like an exit plan. And I had a few things in plan, but I was like, if I don't meet those goals, I'm still gonna follow through because I'm just not, you know, happy. So we have this one life to live, and it's just like, why wake up every day, crying, sad, and at our jobs, that's where we spend majority of our time. And so basically, I'm spending majority of my day sad and depressed when I can just really change and do something about it. So there were so many things that after I got the confirmation from God to move, that I just started getting little messages here and there. And one of the messages that stood out is that ask yourself, do you see yourself doing the same thing 10 years from now? Or do you see yourself retiring from this job at 60 plus years? And how would you feel? And how would you feel in that moment? And when I asked myself that, I immediately got emotional. I immediately started crying at the thought of just still being in the same situation. And in that moment, that's when I was like, okay, I knew I had to get up and do something about it. So I wrote my resignation letter down like on a paper. I kept changing the date around. It was still the same month. It was like December 2022. So basically I was just, playing around with different dates and just seeing what would be the best time to quit. And so once I realized there's not gonna ever be a good time or the best time, I just had to just pick a date and stick to it. So when that date came, fast forward, in December 2022, I was so nervous that day, and I was just really nervous, more so about how my boss was going to take it. And I wanted to just be just a smooth transition. And I knew that it was just going to be like kind of emotional because like you've been working with somebody for a very long time. You tend to, build a relationship with them, and you don't want to, put them in a, situation where it's inconveniencing them. But again, COVID taught us that, you can lose your job, people can be replaced. And so during that time, like, everybody probably should have learned something, from that time, of just like what's the most important thing in your life. Like, these jobs, you can be replaced, or in family, it's like, and your time is the most important thing in life because you can't get it back. So why spend your time in places where and on things that's not serving you? So I was just like, okay, I went ahead and I was like, I was gonna, of course, I didn't want to hand it to them, so I wanted to actually send an email. And so one of my angel numbers is 1010, and so I actually sent it at 1010. And I was just hovering over my desk and just waiting for the time to come. And so I finally, when I hit it, I was just kind of standing there. I was like, oh my God, I knew he was going to come up there. And he did, but everything went well. Long story short, like fast forward to now, it is 2024, and I have been on my sabbatical since then, and it has been great. I felt the sense of relief, like I was so happy. I got a chance to do exactly what I envisioned, because I, envision days where I can just wake up on my own terms, like focus on my business, be creative, and just, I took this sabbatical basically to figure out like my next steps, whether it's just going to be, focused on strictly creating, or did I want to get a part-time job, or, how was I going to try to manage, this journey of becoming a full-time entrepreneur, because that's my ultimate goal, to just really work for myself and just do different things and just create. But it takes a lot of time, energy, and finances to keep that your business going. So that's kind of where I am right now with it. So I'm like, I'm in between, like, should I just find something like part-time? But overall, I have definitely enjoyed my sabbatical. I've got much needed rest, spent time with my family, just process like all of the things that I've experienced over the years. I've had time to just regroup and just get my thoughts together and figure out what I want to do in this next phase of my life. And it has been the best experience. I don't regret anything, my decisions, or anything like that. In the first beginning, it was very relaxing. Like, it was amazing. Towards the end of the sabbatical, things started to get a little bit challenging, because the fear would kind of creep up a little bit. And of course, we still got to maintain life and pay bills and all of that thing. But I'm so grateful that God kept me through this journey. I had a great support system. My business, kept me afloat. And that just showed me along, like, my business has the potential to be what I see it being in the long run. And I'm so grateful for all of my customers and everybody who supported me. They probably had no idea. It's almost like they felt that I was on a sabbatical, because they would just be shopping, and I'm like, wasn't even investing, having new arrivals, anything like that. But they continue to support, and they are my babes. They are everything to me. I absolutely love them, and I appreciate them so much. And I love my connection, and my customer service is what keeps my business going. But I feel like it's bigger than the customer service. It's like we're family. Like, these are my best friends in real life, and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, now where I'm at now is just trying to really figure everything out about like my next steps. And it could be, working like part-time, so I can continue to, invest into my dreams, into my business. And I may actually like also invested into my business. I'm here on YouTube now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you all subscribe. So now I'm gonna be, doing a little content creating. Like, this is new to me, but what I hope to get out of, YouTube is basically through my experience and my journey and things that I'm going through. And not only on the spiritual side of it, just entrepreneurship, the fashion, the home decor, and hope that you guys get inspired in some way, and just learn something from me, and I can learn from you down in the comment section. So hopefully I can get y'all support, y'all's feedback, and anything that I can help y'all with, or you can help me with. I'm open to that as well. I don't know much about this YouTube space, but I'm hoping to grow, because me personally, my business, yes, it makes money, but it also has helped me to grow as a person. And I feel like that's what I hope to get from YouTube. Hope to, because I'm very introverted, hope to just learn how to be able to listen to my own voice without cringing, and see my own face on camera because I've never been like a camera person. And although I model for my boutique, it was a thing where I had to push myself, and that's one of the things where I had to cross over that fear space and just push myself out there. And so yeah, so hopefully y'all come along with me on this journey of me growing with y'all, and y'all come along and grow with me. And yeah, so thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.